Emil is here. Right, one vote in white chocolate. Interestingly enough, white chocolate isn't real chocolate now, is it? Okay. All right. Well, it's Saturday night. It's been quite a weekend. Hang on, let's see that I have audio and video. Hold up. Yes, I have audio and video. It's the Nazarite bringing you Hebrew lore from days of yore. Emil says, morning. Hey, Keysmaster is here. How you doing? So the tonight's poll is on chocolate. One vote in. White chocolate is the best. And again, technically it's not a chocolate, but it's all good. Hey, Fax is here. Thinking time is here. Good evening. Good evening. I hope you guys are having a good weekend. How are you? I have had a bit of a difficult weekend. Bit of a difficult weekend. My woman and I had a bit of a spat, but hopefully we will be able to work it out. One thing between my woman and I is even if we stray apart, for moments or even for hours, we manage to find each other again relatively quickly. We have a long history. We've been together for over 20 years, and sometimes we get on each other's nerves, but we also know how to make up, and we also know how to, hopefully, right, bridge the gaps and the difference of opinions between us. Jay Brennan says, who says you can't be in two places at once? Yup, the millilight years. Yeah, Keys Master. Look, it's never fun to fight with your intimate partner. It's never fun to fight with your spouse, whatever it is. And I hope that just like in previous times, we will be able to get through it. It's like it's difficult and it's very taxing emotionally. But we so far have been very durable, right? We met at 16, married at 20, and we're about to have our 23rd anniversary. So we've managed to get through a lot, and hopefully we will continue and build and be better. Hey, Nazarite, you the man. Hey, Yitzy is here. Hey, Yitz. Thanks a bunch, man. I saw that you called just as I was about to go live, so I couldn't answer you. I'm sorry. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. My man Yitzy from the land down under, who is now in Israel. May God bless your relationship, John says. Thanks, John. I appreciate that. I really do. I really do. Okay, Michael Wardwell said, right, about the dude calling me the Antichrist. He said, me personally, I'm what you'd probably consider a mystic Christian. I also practice like Buddhist meditation and some Hindu Kriya yoga, breathing techniques, but I would say that you just being super devout to God, by you, he doesn't mean me, he means somebody, right? You being super devout to God and being loving, you don't need to become a Christian to get to God. It's all about what's in your heart, he says. I might be Christian, but you don't need to be. Just be yourself and be loving, and that's enough for God. I promise you, God loves you, and it's your mom. God is your mom, dude. How is your mom going to not love you? So, mothers who don't love their children aside, yes, I understand his point. I'm inclined to agree. Religion is a means to an end. You could argue over the different values, you could argue over the different ways in which religions point towards the Most High God. There's also religions like Satanism, right? The modern day Church of Satan, which are like a mockery of organized religion and who don't even believe in God and more of a humanistic approach. But again, those things kind of aside. Um, and mothers not loving their children aside, which also does exist, be it because of, mental issues or be it because of, well, of other issues. Militant for Christ answered him, and he says, sounds like you've been completely misguided. Being Christian is believing in Jesus Christ and what Jesus did for us. You most certainly, he says, need to be a follower of Christ in order to properly reach the Most High God, as Jesus is the way to the Father. So again, Christians disagreeing with each other on what Christianity is, Christians disagreeing with each other on the nature of the religion as a means to an end. Many Christians believe, from what I've gathered, that simply believing in Yeshua, in Jesus, is already being saved in and of itself. It's the only redemption you need. You only get to the Father through the Son. And I've spoken of this in the past many times when I was faced with such questions. Which Christian do you think is correct? The one that says, be yourself, love thy neighbor, love your God, and be a good person, and you will reach God ultimately? Or the one who says, nope, it is only literally through the Son that you can get to the Father? You Christians out there, or followers of Jesus, what do you think? Keys Master says, do you guys read a lot of books? I heard you guys read a lot of books and are very smart. I know what books I like, and are you talking about sort of recreational sci-fi or prose, or do you mean religious texts, or do you mean spiritual books? Do you mean philosophy? What is it that you mean? As for very smart, any society, any group of people will have people on the bell curve, right? Wait, hold on. Some are smarter by definition of IQ, and some are going to be on the shorter end of IQ. But most people are average. And even though there is this idea that Ashkenazi Jews have some sort of a higher degree of IQ on average, I've never done the research. I don't know if that's true. I'm thinking it's like a bell curve, right? You have people on the extremes, and most people are the average. You dig Marvel. I never read the comics. I enjoy some of the movies. Some of them have some really, really great. Look, I loved Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2. Part 3, I went to the movie theater to see that one. It just left me like, what? You go from 1 and 2 to that? Don't call it Part 3. Call it a different name altogether. I was expecting something funny. What a heartbreaking movie Part 3 was. RDR says, good evening. Hope you and your family are well. Yes, we are well. We had altogether a good weekend. A little tense. It's, when the husband and wife are having a spat, it affects the whole family. And it's never fun, like I said, to have a quarrel with your intimate partner. That's why God is there, says Andrew Plaza. I'm not sure if you're referring to what I said or the. Well, okay, there you go. He loves us regardless. Okay, Andrew, yes, I'm inclined to agree. It's like, yes, there are things you can do where you would fall out of favor from the revelation that we call love. But the revelation that we call love is not God. God is like a name that we give. Love is an attribute, right? It's a term, it's a word that has a meaning. And since all of that is there, it is by definition not God. But the revelation of God, of God's love, rather, comes from a very, very high place indeed. But on the other hand, this is a world of good and evil, and it's a world where there is atonement, and there is a world where there are consequences to one's actions, and that also needs to be taken into consideration. Are you Christian? No, I am not a Christian. I'm a Hebrew man, narrator. The Sky Man doesn't give you the right to kill people, says Samuel. Well, I don't consider him a Sky Man or Sky Men. As for the right to kill people, killing and murder are two different things. Let's get that right off the bat. As for killing, what do you mean the right? What do you actually mean by the right to kill people? Do you mean that under no circumstances ever should a human take another human's life? I disagree with that. Should it not be the case that religion would give you the, should it not be that way, but it is, that religion gives you the license to kill? I agree. It should not be that way, but that's the way that it is. Just be good and do good. God will sort us out, says Mando. I'm inclined to agree. All right, so tonight I have just regular old black tea with a squeeze of lemon. It's a little too hot. I'm going to wait. Love Child, Jesus, and Gandhi. What do you mean, traveling crew? I'm not sure what you mean. Hey, how's my favorite Jew? Hey, lifting time. I'm assuming you're talking about me. I appreciate the sentiment of being your favorite Jew. I do appreciate that. Okay, let's go to the poll. 27 votes in. 33% of you prefer white chocolate when it's not even a chocolate? Come on, people. But okay, 33%. Oh, now it went to 31%. Trailing back to 33. Trailing behind is dark chocolate with 28%. No chocolate at 20% and milk chocolate at 23%. I was sure milk chocolate will be taking this poll hands down. I, as a vegan, have not had milk chocolate in about 15 years. I love dark chocolate. 60 or 70% cocoa is my favorite, right? It's dark, but not 100% because that's a little too bitter. But it's good to know that there are so many people who love white chocolate. Okay. Do yid me with a Shazam t-shirt, bro. Hey, Kevin Spence, good to see you in the chat once again. How many stars on the American flag? 50 or 51, Colorado asks. As far as I know, it's 50 states. That's as far as I know, with Alaska and Hawaii being the last ones to join. Have you read the Bible? Yes, Sean, I have read the Hebrew Bible. I read the Christian Bible once, and I read the Hebrew Bible many times. White chocolate because I'm a white guy, says the Austrian painter. All right, I hear you. How is kosher bread compared to American bread? Well, Keysmaster, I've never really had American bread, and I've never lived in the States. I've had kosher American bread, and I don't know if that's the same thing. Mando says, spats are a chance to analyze what got you there. From there, you decide if it was bullshit or not. That's how you build on your relationship with your partner. Spats are less, and understanding increases. Spats are less, well, look, we've been together for 23 years, 23 years married. And a few years before that, I wouldn't say dating because we weren't really dating, but we were together. And we've evolved and we've changed and we have grown in different ways and come together in different ways and a little bit apart in other ways. Of course, that's the natural circle of life. That's, things happen, or circle or natural expansion of life, right? That's simply the way that it goes. It's like I said, we are a durable couple. And I don't think that we've come to the point where it's too much. But hopefully, if it really does become too much, I will be leaving individual therapy and we will go into couples therapy, and that is always an option. We tried to do it a few years ago, I don't know, 10, over a decade ago, but we couldn't find the right time between my schedule, her schedule, and our therapist's schedule. We had a few sessions and then it just fizzled out. If necessary, we definitely will go to couples counseling. I'm not ruling it out. Right now, I'm doing individual therapy, and I would not be able to afford couples counseling and individual therapy at the same time, so I'd have to leave one to take care of the other, which I'm willing to do. I'm not ruling it out, but time will tell. Hopefully, like I said, we have a fight or a spat or a quarrel or an argument, but we are able always to find each other again very quickly. We really are, in that sense, highly durable. It's never come to the point where it's like, okay, that's it, we're done, let's call the lawyers and you worship Moloch, says Frank Renda. Hey, Frank, hi, good to see you. May I ask how I'm worshiping Moloch exactly if I have no foreign deities, no foreign altars, no pagan temple next to me, and I have no idea how to worship Moloch, even if I wanted to worship the foreign deity of Moloch. I don't know how to worship him practically. Technically speaking, I don't know how it's done. Could you give me some pointers? I'm not saying that I want to worship false gods. The inclination for worshiping false deities was taken out of the people of Israel at the beginning of the Second Temple era, 2,400 years ago or so. But if you insist that I worship Moloch, and I commend you for the insistence, then please give me some pointers and we'll see if I want to take it there. Hey, Scarface is here. He says, don't share too much, right, about your personal life. It should not interest people. Yes, but the thing is, I disagree. Not because it's me sharing about my personal life, but because, first of all, there's the element of even couples who've been together for decades do still quarrel, and sometimes it's for the better, and sometimes it's for the worse. Second of all, I would have somebody asked, how am I doing? So I'm not going to bullshit you and say, oh yes, everything is peachy keen, everything is great. No, I didn't have that much of a great weekend. I didn't have a great weekend. Today was better. We had some guests over for the third meal of the Shabbos, and that's all well and good. But I mean, yesterday at night it was not good. I did not have a good night. I did not have a good too much of a good morning. The afternoon, evening was better, but I don't. If somebody asks how you're doing, and here it's not like somebody passing me in the street or something, someone saying hello in the office. This is right over here. I don't feel like bullshitting you people here, nor do I feel like putting on a fake persona, nor do I feel like it's like I'm not giving you that many intimate details about our fight. I'm just saying, yeah, we had a fight, couples fight, it happens. So, okay, I understand what you're saying, Scarface. But in this specific instance, simply saying, yeah, we had a fight, couples fight, hopefully we will find each other again as before, that's, I think, something that is at least of some interest, or I might be wrong. Tell us about the binding of Isaac, says Frank. Well, what about the binding of Isaac? Abraham got the call, and then he was going to bind his son, and he bound him to the altar. But then at the last moment, there was an apparition, right? A divine revelation that came and said, no, 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 don't touch him. And there was a bull there, or an ox. Ayil, right? An ox. No, not an ox. What was it? Yes. Yes. No, wait, it wasn't about ayil. An ayil is a ram. A ram. That's what it was, a ram. I forgot the word for a second. And so that's what it is. Shalom from a non-Jew. Greetings from Iowa. Hey, Luke, greetings to you. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. Who called Mishra in Jew's textbook? I have no idea. Zionon, Xionon. I have no idea. Who is Mishra? Who is Mishra? Talk about whatever you want. It's your channel, says Gussup. Hey, Gussup or Jusup. Good to see you. I think I've seen you here before. Good to see you again, if that is indeed the same dude. Look, it's like, I don't always share things about my personal life, but I don't shy away from sharing about my personal life if I think that it's called for. That's it. A ram. That's right, Bogart, yes. Your channel is awesome. Gave you a follow. Thanks, douche. I appreciate it. I saw in the news that a lot of people in Israel are rioting to oppose military conscription, says the Austrian painter. No, these Haredi Jews, and not all of them at that, are indeed against conscription. They believe that it is against the Torah. They believe that they are all conceptually speaking part of the tribe of Levi, even though de facto they are not. And they believe that since they study Torah, and since they are the ones who are keeping the flame, the pilot light of Torah, alight and alive in the state of Israel, that they should be exempt from military service, which is bullshit. I think that you should definitely segregate a certain amount of people and consecrate them, if you will, to be Torah studiers, 24/7, much like the 10 men of leisure that used to be in towns, villages, and communities of old. It's like, yes, Torah is important. Torah is part of the Iron Dome. Torah is part of the David Sling. Torah is part of the protection bubble that we have over us as a people. However, not that many people. Not that many people. You can't just sit and learn all day and get a stipend from the state and not work and say, oh yes, that's what God told us to do. No, I completely disagree with that. Ultra-Orthodox, ultra-religious Haredi communities all over the world don't do that. And here in the beginning, David Ben-Gurion, Israel's first prime minister, gave a select percentage or amount, right, number of people the exemption from conscription, and then it just grew and grew and grew and grew to this disproportionate number of people, and that is not okay. It is not okay that people are defending this country and living and dying, protecting it, right? And they are just saying, oh, no, that's not, no, we're against it. It's like, no, if you don't want to be here, leave. But if you are here, you take part in the national responsibility. And hey, you don't have to be conscripted. By all means, do national service. It's the same thing, I think, with the Arab Israelis. They don't go into the army. Christians sometimes do. Muslim Arab Israelis do not, by and large, go into it. Druze also join. I've served with Arab Christians. I've served with Druze. I don't think I've served with Muslim Arab Israelis. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure I haven't. The point is, if you're saying, no, it goes against my morality, I think it's wrong to be in the army. If you're religious, right, oh, there are women there, and it could be, it won't be good for me to mix with, in mixed company, to be with women and serving with women and having a, barracks or whatever that is adjacent, because it's not together, adjacent to whatever it is. It's like, okay, do some national service. Go volunteer in your community. In Israel, you have army service, right? Military service or national service. But you should give the time to your state. You should give the time to your very community. You don't have to go to the military for whatever reason. Okay, do national service in your town, in your community, in your village, in your location. Do it locally. Donate your time. Give something back. So, no, definitely, I think that even though there are those who are against going to the army, and I do understand them, it doesn't mean they are exempt. Also, pulling that crap that goes against the Torah and saying, right, and anchoring it in Torah is wrong. It's just wrong. Don't believe a word out of his mouth, says war is stupid. I agree, war is stupid, but humans love war. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? The Austrian says they should do both. College students in U.S. work and study. Yes, Torah ve'avodah, right? Labor and learning. Torah and toil. You should be doing both. You should be learning. Right? Jews throughout the entire course of history have held jobs, and they also learned Torah. It's possible to do both. And again, there were those select people, usually the elders of the community, or the village, the town, wherever you were, the city, the kibbutz. I don't think they had them in kibbutzim, but that's beside the point, where, yes, they would designate a certain group of people. You keep the synagogue, the temple, the shul going. You be there. We will give you a stipend. We will pay your monthly salary, whatever it is. You study Torah. You be there to have a minyan, 10 men, right, of age and older, bar mitzvah and older, to see over all of these spiritual needs, whether it's the davening in the shul, right, praying the 3 prayers with a minyan, with a congregation, or whether it's anything that has to do where the religion, the spirit is involved. You'd have the local rabbi, and you'd have the men of leisure. That was their job. They would receive a salary, a stipend, some sort of compensation from the city, the town, the community, the village, wherever they were. And they would be the people who do not work and whose sole purpose is to have that spiritual pilot light still going and to have Torah study continuously going on in the town. And that is a good thing. So yes, by all means, choose a few hundred, even a few thousand of students of Torah that have shown their worth, that are truly, truly on their way to becoming great things, because Torah is amazing. And give them that stipend, but don't give it to dozens and hundreds of thousands of people who don't work and who take money from the government and then who oppose the state of Israel's military and who don't want to be conscripted, nor do they want to do national service. Now, I don't mean to tar all the Haredim with the same brush. I've served with ultra-Orthodox people in my unit. I've served with them. That some of them are lovely, amazing, generous, bold, brave souls. So I'm not saying it's across the board. I don't want to speak in absolutes. But those people who are, like you said, rioting against being conscripted, fine. Fine. Give us the alternative. What's the alternative? They have no alternative. It's just, no, let us do whatever we want. It's something that we cannot do. It's a secular army and we don't want to be a part of it. It's like, okay, give us the alternative, because you got to do something. You got to do something. And if they say, oh, no, but it's the Torah. We are the ones who studied Torah. It's like, okay, show me another time, show me another place in human history where all of the community was studying Torah and nobody was working and nobody was serving and nobody was doing anything. Show me. And I'll say, okay, there was a precedent. There was no such precedent. The only precedent was something I'm willing to do, which is the men of leisure designate a few hundred, designate even a few thousand of people to sit in yeshiva and learn, because Torah truly does save. Torah truly does protect. I know the significance of Torah. I've been to yeshiva. I grew up religious in Jerusalem. I'm aware of its power. I'm aware of its strength. I'm aware of its properties and of its importance. But to say that all of these dozens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, all of them are exceptional students? No, I disagree on general principle. That is not the Hebrew way. The Hebrew way is to hold a job, if you can have one, and to learn Torah. That's what it is. All right, let's continue. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol niyeh b'dvaro. Marlene says, I love your live videos. Keep going, man. Thanks, I appreciate it. Let's go to the poll. 125 votes in. 42% of you with dark chocolate. All right, dark chocolate taking the lead. 33% with milk chocolate. 14% white chocolate. Wow, white chocolate took a dive. And no chocolate, 11%. All right, chocolate people. 89% of you are into chocolate. I like that. That was a killer rant long. Hey, Robert is here. How you doing, Robert? Let's send the Torah to Israel then, says Burgo Not. Well, there is Torah in Israel, thank God. The Torah has always been part of the people of Israel. The Torah has always been part of the land of Israel. Fake Jew, you're European, says Sunnyow's Trippy. Really? You know my ancestry? By all means, do tell me, where am I from Europe, please? You gotta love these people. You gotta love them. You're not a Jew, you're a fake Jew. What? I love it. It makes me laugh. These people are so ignorant of Judaism. They have zero idea what they're talking about, and yet they are so confident with their hate, their vitriol, you know, they're spamming. Oh, God. Oh, God, that's so good. Evening, HN. Hope all is well. Hey, Rusty. Good to see you again, man. This guy, the murderer defender, just rants, says Cam. Really? I defend murder? No, I'm pretty sure the Torah says thou shalt not commit murder. So I'm not for murder. I think murderers should be put to death. That's what the Torah says. That's what I think should happen. I mean, technically speaking, we don't have the death penalty. It's something that's, we have, only one person has been executed in Israel so far, and that's Adolf Eichmann. The law that is going to bring the death penalty back to Israel is being passed these days. I don't know how I feel about it. I've spoken of this before. It's not something I'd immediately go to and say, yes, of course, put them all to death. The real Jew says circumcised in your youth are black. See, again, there's no such thing as real Jew. If you are born into the covenant, you are a Jew. If you convert, you are a Jew. There is no real Jew, fake Jew. You think that the content of melanin in someone's skin makes them Jewish? You're mistaken. If that were the truth, there would be no converts. These people are so ignorant. They are Israelites, then they are not no Zionist. White European from Poland, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia. Oh, really? If that's the case, how come 50% of Jews are Mizrahi Jews? Oh no! I just made all of your entire theory fall apart. My condolences. Are there any Jews in India? Yes, the Pashtun are in India. I think that, and others as well, but the Pashtun are the known Jewish community in India, if I'm not mistaken. Aviation Guy says both faiths share a fundamental belief in the absolute oneness of God. You can explain that Muslims worship the same God who spoke to Moses and Abraham. Yes, correct, you could. There is a difference of opinion among the scholars and rulers of halacha on whether or not we do indeed worship the same God. From what I know, it is indeed closer, definitely closer than the Christians who have a Trinity and who have Jesus as God in flesh. Muslims have no God incarnate, and in that sense we are closer. On the other hand, with other certain values, we are closer to the Christians. It's said that there are three pillars where you have the Christians on the left, and you have the Christians on the right, the Muslims on the left, and Israel down the middle pillar. Have you read Camus on the death penalty? No, I haven't. I haven't, GHU 89. I have not read Camus on the death penalty. Camus, wait, was he one of the New Age French philosophers post World War II? I might be mistaken. John says, yes, burst the ignorance bubbles of those in the chat. Hey, let me make this very clear. I'm also ignorant of many things. There's many things that I don't know. There's more of what I don't know than what I do know. However, I don't speak with such confidence about the things that I'm ignorant about. I say maybe, I pepper it with it's my opinion. So far, what I've learned, what I've heard, I don't speak in absolutes. All these caveats are because I am ignorant myself. To say such amazingly stupid things with full confidence just reveals your ignorance to the world. And if you're going to reveal your ignorance to the world, that's okay. Say it in the form of a question. Then you only need to be ignorant once. We are all ignorant about most things. But the way that we become less ignorant is not by boasting proudly and saying, oh yes, I know. No, it's by engaging. It's by not speaking in absolutes as if you are the know-it-all and everyone else is foolish. It's quite the other way around. Humble yourself. Raise it as a question, and then I can address it. But to call anybody a fake anything with zero idea of what they're talking about, it simply displays their ignorance. Okay, let's continue scrolling down in the chat. What's Metzitza B'Peh? This comes up every single time. I've addressed it many times, Uzi, so I'm not going to do that this time. The devil tries... Damar Mandani says, the devil tries to lower the status of humans by increasing the number of sins committed against humans. That's lowering the status of humans at large. As far as I know, the devil, right, is the adversary. That's literally what Satan means. In Hebrew, it means adversary. The adversarial element exists within each and every one of us. You're saying the devil tries to lower the status of humans, like, at large, by increasing the number of sins committed against humans. Why would that lower the status of all humans? Presumably, it's either people who are bigots or racists, haters, or people who are, number of sins committed against humans. I'm not quite understanding what you're talking about there. I really don't know what you're talking about. Okay. Oh, super chat came in. Hang on a second. Or did it? Did it not? Yes. Yeti says, do you like corn with a burger or beans? Well, again, I don't eat meat, so I haven't had a proper burger in over 15 years. Do I like corn or beans? Neither. I like mine in a bun with tomato and lettuce and fried onion and barbecue sauce or ketchup or, something like that. Would the Book of Judges make a sick video game, says Bad Dragonite. Hey, good to see you again. The thing with the Book of Judges is that it has a cyclic nature, right? The people of Israel are all fat and lazy and happy, and then they sin. And then when they sin, there comes an enemy. And then after time with an enemy, there comes a judge. And then the judge frees them. And then they are free. But then they get lazy and fat, and they sin, and it repeats itself. That is the essence of the Book of Judges. Would it make a sick video game? Only if you would take out the cyclic nature and do something that is less spherical and more linear. You know what I'm saying? Maybe going from zone to zone, because different judges ruled in different places. The time period of judges is thought of to be 200 or 300 years. Different judges ruled in different tribes in different areas of the land at the time. So while one tribe was fighting a certain enemy in one area ruled by X judge, a different tribe was in the middle of fighting a different enemy in a different area ruled by another judge. So that could have been the case. So if you do it, I don't know how the video game would actually work. Would it make a kick-ass video game? Yeah, maybe it would. Maybe it would. Hey, Midnight is here. Another super chat. America letting Israel control things scares me. I'm a Christian, and the possibility that your Messiah may come scares me, but I support you. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I don't quite understand what do you mean. Israel has an interest in the States. The States has an interest in Israel. And a lot of the money that America gives Israel goes back immediately to the American industry, like 70 or 80% from what I've heard. So, your Messiah may come scares me. Which Messiah do you mean? Do you mean like a king of Israel that will rally the people to Torah or build the temple, fight its enemies? Or do you mean the final Messiah who will usher in a new age and a whole shift, not just for Israel, but for all humanity and all creation? There may be several kings that will sit on a throne before that final one comes, or maybe the next Messiah, the next king who will be crowned, will be the final Messiah who is said to be from the line of David, right? The house of the tribe of Judah, the house of David. As for being scared, America letting Israel control things scares me. Look, the United States of America, as far as I know, is still the world's leading superpower. They have their thumb on a lot of different places, a lot of different people. They call the shots in a lot of ways. They have the responsibility, I suppose, right? There was that Team America, right? World Police. America! So America letting Israel control things? I don't know if America is letting Israel control things. Is it in fact true that this tiny little speck in the Middle East, the size of the state of New Jersey, is controlling the world's leading superpower? And if that is the case, explain to me how it's done. Because as far as I know, we are allies, we are partners to some degree. We share information, we share resources, we share intelligence. Our military is trained together. We have each other's backs, as it were. And I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, not with this recent war in Iran, nor with anything else. I know that growing up, I was pissed off at the States, especially with the Gulf War, right? Saddam, 1991, if I'm not mistaken, where Patriot missiles were placed here, right? American Patriot missiles were placed here, but we were not allowed to respond. We were not allowed to attack. America told us, no, 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 Israel, don't do a thing. We got this. I, as somebody who had to spend a lot of time in a sealed room with a gas mask on, did not like that. But nobody can deny that America and Israel are very good friends. We have our differences, of course. It depends on who is leading the country on either side, right, respectively. So I have no idea. I do know that America and Israel have been good friends for a long time, allies. We have each other's backs. Is one controlling the other? You could make the argument that there are times when Israel tells America what to do, and there are times, definitely, when America tells Israel what to do. And I think that ultimately, you should not be scared. If you have any faith in the union, let's say, or in the partnership, the allyship of these two countries, then, I mean, in general, regardless of who right now is in charge in America or in Israel, it's been a very long-standing allyship, a long-standing partnership. If you have faith in the partnership, it can withstand whatever administration is currently making you scared. So don't be scared. Have faith, I say. I say have faith. You Nate Hickers. I don't know what that means, Lucas. I try not to Nate any Hickers. What does Israel give America? Like I said, a lot of intelligence, a lot of resources, a lot of the backing here. If America had no vested interest in Israel here as a representative of the US in the Middle East, then they would not have this partnership. Obviously, the close partnership between the two countries benefits both countries. And you can rest assured and bet your bottom dollar that if America wasn't getting anything out of this allyship, out of this partnership, if it didn't have any interests in the Middle East that it thought Israel was facilitating and safeguarding, then they would not be helping us with anything. Why would they? So what does Israel give America? I'm just a lowly civilian dumbass. I don't know. I know what I'm told. I don't take it for granted. I don't take it as like gospel that whatever the media tells me is going on is actually going on. I would be a fool. But I do know from the long-standing partnership, from history I know, that we have a long-standing allyship, and that means that you give and you scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's the way these things work. Are the Jews preparing a false Messiah with the sacrifice of the red heifer? So the red heifer is not sacrificed. The red heifer is burnt, and the ashes are put in water. You take a branch of hyssop, and it's used to purify those who have been defiled by by a dead body, right? By a corpse, a human dead body. We are all, technically speaking, other than a few Nazarites or a few priests, we are all technically defiled by death, which is the father of the fathers of ritual impurity, as it's known halachically. A false Messiah? No, I don't think they are preparing a false Messiah. You can purify the people ritually and make them ritually clean and not crown a king or anoint a king. So one has nothing to do with the other. Now, there are those who say that it will all come sort of meshed together, right? The purification of the people ritually, the ritual cleansing with the red heifer, and then it will be followed or preceded by an anointing of a king, the returning of the spirit of prophecy, the building of the third temple. People say it will all come together. These people hang their hopes on, oh, when Messiah comes. I have no such, I'm not going to say delusion, it's not a question of delusion, but I have no such view. Right? I have no such consciousness. As far as I'm concerned, we can purify ourselves and not necessarily have a false Messiah or an actual Messiah. There are false Messiahs here right now in Israel and all over the world, and we don't need the red heifer and purification, ritual cleanliness in order to see whether they are real or false. You can crown a king of Israel even with ritual impurity in the state and the land and the kingdom of Israel. So one has naught to do with the other. So I do believe that we don't need a temple, we don't need a king, right? We don't need an anointed one. But if it does come to pass, may it be a house of love and worship for all humanity, a vegan third temple. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's go with the poll. 236 votes in, 38% dark chocolate. Wow, I'm impressed. I didn't think that many people were into dark chocolate. As to pass milk chocolate, that's at 35%. 17% say no chocolate, and white chocolate at 10. Wow, white chocolate took a dive. Wow. Okay. Wrong, we can't purify ourselves. No, what I mean is if we do get the red heifer, first of all, there are different degrees of ritual impurity. Ritual uncleanliness has degrees, right? If you touch a kosher animal or not a non-kosher animal, that's a certain degree. If you have like semen emission or menstrual blood, that's a certain degree of impurity. Okay, if you eat something not kosher, that's a certain degree of impurity. If you touch something dead, a human corpse, I mean, a human dead body, a corpse, that is the highest degree of ritual impurity. Some impurities simply need a certain washing of the hands with a special cup called an atla. Other types of impurity require a mikveh, the immersion in the ritual pool. Other types, right, require the sprinkling of the water, like like touching a corpse or being in the vicinity of a corpse. So there are different degrees to ritual impurity. So when you say we can't purify ourselves, Robert, I agree and I disagree. I agree that we can't purify ourselves alone from everything. We can definitely purify ourselves from certain things nowadays and from other things should the circumstances align and the scenario, right, will present itself where a red heifer will be able to be kosher, properly butchered, right, by Nazarite priests who are not defiled by death. That's something Rabbi Yoshua Friedman said in his book Nazir Elohim, Nazarite of God, and they will be able to purify the rest of us. So that's the way that it goes. Dark chocolate and a cigar is a good combination. I don't think I've ever done that. Hey, no matter, Peter. Good to see you again. I've never smoked a cigar and eaten dark chocolate. I used to love eating chocolate with raisins, but since I took the Nazarite vow, I do not eat raisins. I substituted that for dark chocolate with cranberries, right? Dried cranberries, craisins. I think, right? Craisins? Yeah, that's what they're called, right? These dried cranberries. So I used to have milk chocolate and raisins, and now I have dark chocolate and craisins, and it's not the same, but it's still very, very good. You know, the false Messiah is trying to force you to submit to him. Really, no false Messiah is trying to force me to submit to anyone, anytime, anywhere. If somebody has not been crowned by the people, they are a potential Messiah. But we have no false Messiah because we have no one that's been anointed and crowned as king. There are people who are saying they are the Messiah. They are contending, right? They are could have been a contender. Yes, they are potential messiahs. A false messiah would be somebody who says that they are a false messiah and have gathered around a congregation, and a couple of those do exist. I am not a follower of any of them. There are people right now in the land of Israel claiming to be the Messiah, who have a congregation around them, who are asking the people to crown them. Anoint me, give me the crown, I will rule you, I am the Messiah. So far, there has been no consensus. So far, there has been no agreement on who the Messiah is. Some people say that he will only be revealed if, angelic, divine messenger, prophet, whatever. Some people say, no, it's just a leader, and all we need to do is crown him, and, he will sit on the throne of the king as king of Israel. But nobody is forcing me to submit. Also, the king himself submits to the will of the Most High God. The king of Israel is commanded not to have too many horses, not to have too many women, not to have too many riches, and to write a Torah scroll that is only for him, one that he keeps in his, let's say, with his stash, and one that he actually ties onto his arm. The king represents Malchut. The king represents a divine revelation called kingdom, adequately enough. And so he also is subservient to the will of the Most High God and to the will of the prophets who are channeling the divine message to the king. You're clearly ignorant about the Messiah, Throwaway says. Really? I'm ignorant? How? The Messiah literally means Mashiach, anointed one. If we have not anointed a king of Israel with oil and have given him the crown, then we have no leader currently sitting on the throne of the kingship, of the kingdom of Israel. There is no kingship. There is no monarchy. In what way am I ignorant of the Messiah if there is no Messiah? There are potential Messiahs. There are contenders for the throne, but none of them have yet been embraced by the people. My house will be called a house of prayer for all nations. Amen. May it be so. May it be so. Jews are ignorant, says Throwaway. Really? How incredibly dumb of you to say that, because many Jews are incredibly not ignorant. I'm not among them. I am very ignorant, no doubt about that. But to say Jews are ignorant is just about some of the stupidest shit you could say, considering everything that Jews have done for the world, industry, medicine, art, philosophy. Name any industry, name any actual productive endeavor, you will find some Jew there who's... So I don't agree with you. Do you think Israel is an apartheid state? And Nardi says, no, I don't. I think we have about 2 million Israeli Arabs living here with the same rights that I do. We have signs out there all over the country in Hebrew and Arabic and English. There are, as I've said before, it is a Jewish democratic state. And so sometimes it leans more Jewish and sometimes it leans more democratic. So there are elements in the state of Israel that are not equal among its citizens. For instance, the national anthem, very famously, it mentions Zion and Jerusalem, and the word Jew. And so obviously an Israeli Arab, I wouldn't expect him to really, really connect with the national anthem, because even though he is 100% a citizen of the state of Israel, who has the same blue ID that I do, and is not a foreigner, and 100% a civilian just like me, he may not connect to the Jewish parts of Israel. He does connect, however, to the democratic parts, and in that sense, there is a lot more democracy than Jewishness to the way in which all of the citizens of Israel are governed. And in that sense, it is not an apartheid state. And if you want to argue over the specific elements that are leaning more Jewish, like the national anthem, I would say, okay, bring that to the foreground and we can discuss each on a case-by-case basis. But to call Israel an apartheid state is false and it's wrong. If you look originally at the apartheid in South Africa, we have no restaurants for Jews only. We have no fountains or buses for Jews only. There are, however, places, right? Arab Israelis can go into everywhere, wherever they want, all over Israel. A Jew, depending on the nature of the place where he or she are going, we cannot enter into every Arab village. We cannot enter into just any Arab town. Maybe it used to be that way, but the citizens, some of them, in some places, not all of them, of course, they're part of the backbone of this society, the Israeli Arabs, and I love it that we have that going on here. Some towns, some villages, some areas are more radicalized and religious, if you will, than others, and it would be dangerous for some, in some areas, to go in, whereas an Arab Israeli pretty much can go wherever he wants. So if there is, let's say, in that specific way, an apartheid, it's working the other way. But like I said, with the national anthem, it's what you perhaps mean. But there is no apartheid because we do not set apart the citizens. They are not second or third class citizens in this country. Are there still bigots and racists? Of course. Is there still hatred? Of course. Is it manifested in the law? 100% no. It's individuals, it's maybe congregations, communities, or families. But hate, that's something that is simply part of being in a society. There will always be haters, there will always be bigots, there will always be racists. Is the country itself hateful? No. Is it bigoted? No. Is it racist? No. The law, we are all equal before the law. Now, of course, there are differences in culture and outlook between Arabs, Muslims, Arab Christians, and Jews. So there are also Arab Jews for that matter, but let's leave that aside right now. Of course, there's a difference of the outlook and the views and the values depending on the religion, depending on, right, like I said. But overall, Israel is not an apartheid state by any means. By any means. I don't think so. Yes, we are second-class liar Zionists. You have a wall between Gaza and West Bank. Oh, really? Then why aren't you crying at Egypt? Why aren't you screaming at Egypt? And also, there's a channel for Arab and Jews. What? Between Gaza and the West Bank? Yes, do you know why there is a wall there? Because people from Gaza, they came in and they bombed and they stabbed and they shot and they kidnapped and they maimed and they tortured and they murdered a bunch of people all the time. And also, if you're going to come and say that, what about Egypt? Egypt has a much higher wall. Egypt ruled over Gaza for 20 years. They didn't establish a Palestinian state. The Jordanians ruled over the West Bank of Jordan for 20 years, and they didn't establish a Palestinian state either. And Israel, at the end of the 70s, gave Egypt the Gaza, and they said, nope, we don't want it, that's cool. So I'm afraid you're full of shit. Of course there's a wall, because you people won't stop attacking. So there's a wall, and no other country would do anything else. Crazy Cat says, Yeda hu koach borut hi heres. Knowledge is power, ignorance is destruction. It's destruction, but it's also bliss. Caroline says, just like how some people don't think some people are real people, this is disgusting. Yes, there are many, many disgusting things that go on in this chat, definitely, but I want to keep it as open as possible, despite all of the disgusting things. Muy Grande, good to see you again, says, hello, brother, if you're not allowed to brush your hair and beard, no, you're allowed to brush your beard. The only part of the Nazarite vow is the hair on the head. You're allowed to brush your beard. Are you allowed to brush your teeth? Yes, you are allowed to brush your teeth. In fact, it's good hygiene, and the Torah is definitely about taking care of the body as well and not mistreating the body. The Nazarite vow, as it pertains to the hair of the head on the scalp, it means that you can't use any kind of tool or any kind of substance that would cause hairs to be ripped out intentionally. So the Nazarite uses no brush, the Nazarite uses no comb, the Nazarite man or woman can use their fingertips, their fingers, right, to separate or to sort of make the hair look better, I suppose, in lieu of a brush and a comb. The beard, you can definitely comb, you can definitely run your fingers or a comb or a brush through it, or you can shave, not with a razor if you're a Hebrew man, but you can shave with a shaver, something that gets close but is not a razor. And brushing your teeth is part of hygiene, and definitely the Torah is about that. Why does a Jew have to be buried within 3 days? Well, it usually is within a day. It's usually within a day. There's a great emphasis on getting the body back to the ground as soon as possible. Part of the reason is that let's say, the process, right? The process of, you can call it a judgment, you can call it the next phase, you can call it whatever it is. That process does not truly begin in earnest until the body is in the ground. And so there is great emphasis on burying bodies that very day, the next day if possible, 3 days. Like you said, it's important within a few days, as soon as possible, to get that body in the ground. Yes, that is true. Thoughts on Erica Kirk, old wizard? Hi, wizard. I have no thoughts on Erica Kirk because I don't know her. I've heard only things her husband has said. I've seen him debate a few people, college campuses and whatnot on YouTube, but I don't know anything about her, so I have no thoughts about Erica Kirk. What are your thoughts on Erica Kirk? He's not Jewish, says Sync Mythology. Really? I'm not Jewish? Well, dang, if I'm not Jewish, what am I? Please tell me. You obviously know. It's funny. Some of these people, they make me laugh. 327 votes in. Ooh, 30 milk and dark chocolate neck and neck. 36% dark chocolate. 35% of you like milk chocolate. Which is best? White chocolate, says 11% of you, and 17% say no chocolate. Wow, 17% are not chocolate people. That's something. Why are the Arabs under military law and Israelis under civilian law? And is it that exactly apartheid? No, it's a security issue, Nardi. It's a security issue. The Palestinian Authority has the legal rule over the people in the West Bank of the Jordan, in that area, right, Judea and Samaria. There's military law because if there wasn't, the Palestinian Authority are terrorists in suits, just like the Hamas in Gaza, right, are terrorists in uniform and headbands. It's the same deal. The leadership, not the people, perhaps. There are innocent people who want to live out their lives and, in peace and prosperity, and that's that, right? And raise their families and work their jobs and lead a good life. The leadership in the West Bank and in Gaza is an extremist death cult of a leadership. It is a warmongering, bloodthirsty regime, and that is why we need to keep our borders secure. And so if you people had military rule, and by you people, I mean if the leadership in Gaza had military rule, and over there it does, and you saw what it did to the Fatah. Anyway, there's military rule, right? There's area A, B, and C, right? Very famously in Israel, where it's joint rule, it's separate rule. But the reason is that Israel needs to keep its borders secure. Israel needs to keep terrorists from coming in and slaughtering people, which is what they would love to do, and they are not shy about that, believe me. So that is why. That is why. And maybe, just maybe, if the Palestinian Authority decided to stop being terrorists and stop funding terrorism and stop supporting terrorism financially, and the families of shaheeds who died killing Jews, the more Jews, the more the higher is the stipend. You can look that up. There are definitely terrorists who support terrorism and who don't support any negotiations with Israel, that's for sure. They've rejected every single peace agreement that's been on the table. So that's why, because Israel needs to keep military rule in order to protect its civilians, and nobody, no other sovereign state would do otherwise. Bad Dragonite says, is it true that King Solomon played a really intense game of Chinese checkers with spirits to build his house? Kidding, he says. No, I don't know about the Chinese checkers, but it is said that King Solomon was ruler of the higher and lower realms, and as such, he had a very intense relationship of back and forth with the king of the demons, Ashmedai. And, yeah. Craig Warner says, give up terror? Great, yeah, right. Yeah, isn't that... Look, I'm not saying don't give up everything. I'm not saying kick yourselves out. I'm not saying kill yourselves. I'm saying stop being terrorists. It's not that difficult to stop being terrorists. Look, what did Golda Meir say? If Israel put down its arms, there will be no Israel. If the Arab Muslims put down their arms, there will be peace. Let's continue. What's the justification of Israel throwing children in prisons? Well, to numb millennials, you will have to give me the specific instances. You'll have to give me the specific case that you're talking about. Give me the source. If I don't see it in the chat, leave a comment. Incidentally, people, if I don't get to you in the chat, I'm not ignoring you. I'm not banning you. I'm not filtering you. I'm not censoring you. I just can't see everything. There are over 100 people here right now. Please leave something in the comments. I address every single comment that is addressed to me. So if I don't get to you in the chat, leave a comment. If you don't want to comment, hit me up in the DMs. Hebrew Nazarite across the board on my X, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. I don't post much, but I'm there for the DMs. So please hit me up if you want. The justification for Israel throwing children in prison, I'd have to know precisely what it is about. I go on a case-by-case basis with such things. Because presumably, if these are children who did absolutely nothing wrong, then they should not be in prison. If they are children who are... Why are you always lying, says Ramkar? Why? When am I lying? By all means, if you're going to call me a liar, then back it up with an actual argument. Back it up with an actual claim. People, come against me, challenge me, fact check me, push back against me. It's all good, but you're going to have to back up your claims. You're going to have to back it up with something. Ooh, pardon me. So as for children, I don't know what children you're talking about. It will have to go on a case-by-case basis. I'm not a fan of Israel throwing children in prison, even if it's just jail. But I don't know. Maybe these are children who've been indoctrinated by Hamas who went to a checkpoint and tried to stab some people. Wouldn't you think maybe they should at least spend a few days in the slammer until we know what's going on with them, until they can be brought before some sort of a judge or be brought into the system? I'm pretty sure that that would be the case, again, with any other sovereign state that isn't crazy. Okay. Am Yisrael Chai, says Pesto. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. The people of Israel live. Hey, Andrew was here. Shalom aleichem, my comrade. Wa aleichem shalom. Wa alaikum salam. Joseph says, was Samson from Nazareth? No, he was not from Nazareth. He was from a place between Tzorah and Eshtaol. Those are two areas right outside of Yerushalayim, outside of Jerusalem, in the camp of Dan. So no, he was a Nazarite, a Samson Nazarite. That is my Nazarite ship. I took a Samson vow, which is for life, without cutting the hair. That is my vow. There are 4 different types of Nazarites. The Samson Nazarite is one of them. He's the only one who does not appear in Numbers 6, incidentally, or it's not based on Numbers 6. He is based on the book of Judges, right? So yes, Samson was not from Nazareth. He was from the camp of Dan between Tzorah and Eshtaol, and he never cut his hair because he was a Nazarite from birth, or from the womb. That much is true. Should I order a Torah as a Mormon Christian, says Lifting Time Prod, or is it the same as the Old Testament from the King James Bible? Well, any translation will have things that are mistranslated. The only one that comes close is the JPS Tanakh of 1917. It's written in the same sort of poetic King James Bible language, but it doesn't have all of the mistranslations and all of the corruptions and all the different things that I've seen in the different Christian Bibles, the New Testament in the Christian Bibles. A lot of times you have mistranslations, and maybe not intentional, but they certainly affect those who read these translations who are not. Look, the best thing obviously would be to read it in the Hebrew. Not a lot of people can do that. Hebrew is not a lot of people speak or read or write Hebrew. So yes, use a translation. If you're going to use a translation of the Torah, I say use the JPS Tanakh version of 1917, even though it's not perfect, because what is? I think it's the way to go. The JPS is Jewish Publication Society, which is why I'm saying it's not a Christian translation, it is a Jewish translation. Israel only experienced the deportation because Moses warned Israel to not intermarry and end up worshipping idols, Bill says. Well, Bill, it's not just that, but yes, you are exactly right. Israel was expelled several times from the land of Israel because they did not follow the covenant and they did not keep the commandments. And they, as you said, they were worshipping idols. That's what happens. That's what you get. As Radiohead says, this is what you get when you mess with us. And we as they say, we effed around and we found out. Bogart says, wasn't John the Baptist Nazarite? So Christians say that he was. I don't recall. I read the New Testament once. I don't recall if he was or wasn't in the text. But I'm thinking that there are Christians who say that he was. Do Jews consider him an important figure? No, they do not. Because he is part of the New Testament, we do not consider him an important figure. However, from my single reading of the New Testament, I loved the character of Yochanan HaMatbil, John the Baptist as he is known. I loved that idea of the guy, the sage, who's taking people to the river and dunking them. And it's like an awakening, right? Like after a mikveh, right? The River Jordan is indeed a mikveh for all intents and purposes. It is a natural body of water that acts as a ritual pool, a mikveh, a kosher mikveh. And I loved that idea of the dude, that's part of what he was doing, just bringing people back to Torah, bringing people back to the faith. I think it's really, really awesome. I really do. But in the Hebrew faith, he is not considered any kind of significant figure at all. Nicole says, I'm very curious what difference in the belief of a Hebrew Nazarite and Orthodox or Hasidic other denominations. None. There is no difference between them. Orthodox people, I grew up Orthodox in Jerusalem. Nazariteship is a sect, but it's something that you take on. It's not something that you take on instead of your religious affiliation. Conservative, Orthodox, Reform, Reconstruction, Hasidic, Neo-Hasidic, whatever you kind of Jew you are, if you are a man or woman of the Hebrew tribes, you are allowed to take the Nazarite vow. A lot of people think that you need to complete all of the Torah and you need to do this and blah, 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 blah. Nothing. Bullshit. Never says that. Ever, ever, ever. The only prerequisite is you need to be a man or a woman of the Hebrew tribes. That is the only prerequisite to taking the Nazarite vow. Should everybody take it? Some say yes. I say no. I say if you are called towards it, do your due diligence, do your research, take your time, have discernment, use caution, and then if you are still interested in living that Nazarite life, it will be for life because we currently have no temple. So even if you take it for a set period of time and the days are fulfilled, the vow is incomplete so long as you have not brought the proper offerings. And so now without a temple, even one who takes the Nazarite vow for a set period of time is de facto a Nazarite for life. So it's a lifelong commitment. It's a lifelong vow. And yes, you can annul a vow, you can break it. It's like there are ways to work around it, so to speak. I don't mean work around it. I mean work within the system to annul the vow. But if you are going to take on a Nazariteship, these days it is for life. So Hebrew Nazarites are just like Hebrew Orthodox Jews. I grew up Orthodox. I don't consider myself proper Orthodox now. I took a step away from strict rabbinic law, so I don't put myself under that label. It would be misguiding people if I presented myself as Orthodox. I'm not a fan of labels either. The Nazariteship to me represents that which I want to be. It's an ideal, right? It's an ideal that I'm chasing. It's something that I'm going after. I am not truly still anywhere. I'm still in the progress of going on that journey, right? I'm still on that path. So, but Orthodoxy is my home. Jewish modern Orthodoxy is my home, is my root. I will always feel comfortable in an Orthodox shul. I will always feel comfortable in an Orthodox community. I've also prayed with conservative and reform people, egalitarians and others. I've studied with Messianic Jews. It's like, yes, I've got all kinds of, so there is no difference. There is no difference really. Any one of those denominations can take on a Nazarite vow if they are Jewish. IMM says, can you say what Tanakh it is again? I'm on my conversion journey. Speaking of conversion, what do you think of convert Jews? I love them. I adore them. I think it takes a lot of balls to attach yourself to this covenant and to these people. I think it takes major, major dedication and devotion. And I respect the crap out of anybody who is called to another faith and goes and does it and actually goes through with it. I think it's an amazing thing to those who are actually called with it, called to it and go through it. I think it's an amazing thing. I have much respect for converts. The Tanakh is the JPS Tanakh of 1917. JPS. Okay, let's continue. Let's go to the poll. 380 votes in. 36% still neck and neck, milk and dark chocolate. Still the same, 60 votes later. My mother converted to Judaism in order to marry my dad. Says, oh wait, who said that? I'm sorry. The chat just jumped. Sorry. The chat just jumped. Oh, Muy Grande said that. Okay, cool. Soundwave says, loving the Transformers topped at the original series air in Israel in the 80s. So yes, it did after it was in the States. Incidentally, the series was based on the toys. The series was there just to market the toys, which is great. I love it from a marketing conceptual, from a marketing concept, right? Conceptually, that marketing angle of we have these toys, let's back it up with a series. I think that's great. What a great way to market a toy. Why hasn't Israel signed the nuclear treaty? Or Olafson says, because this is our nuclear ambiguity, is part of how we cover our collective ass. I think that if we did not have nuclear weapons, the people around us would definitely have tried invading us again en masse. And I don't know if we would have, peace with Jordan or with Egypt. It's like, it's a deterring factor. I don't think that we are actively saying, first of all, we don't actively say that we have nuclear weapons. It's always ambiguous. Second of all, we have not actively threatened anybody. At least a government, maybe members of parliament have said some stupid things, but an actual prime minister has never threatened with nuclear force anybody in the vicinity or outside of this region. Third, right, like I said, it's a deterring thing. It's like, you don't mess with us, we won't mess with you. So that's why. But I would love it. I would love it if we would come to a place of peace and justice and understanding. And I mean real peace, where we will be able, if we do have nuclear weapons, that we will be able to sign the treaty and disarm our nuclear arsenal and just give it all up. Forget all that. May war and bloodshed and terrorism be taken away from all creation. Even right now as I'm speaking these words, may it be so, may it be so. And may we have no need for nuclear weapons, conventional or non-conventional weapons, any kind of light or heavy arms, None of it. May we be able, as the people here, as the people in the region, as a global humanity, to reach a place of love and understanding and partnership and camaraderie, that we won't need any kind of force. We won't need a military. May all militaries be disbanded, because we have reached a loving and understanding relationship with our fellow earthlings. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice? Yes, it would. Yes, it would. Hello, says Ray. Who do you think has the upper hand in the US-Iranian conflict, and how do you think it will end? I have no idea. Far be it from me to say. It seems that militaristically, the US has the upper hand, and Israel for that matter. How it will end, I don't know, because it seems, and I don't know again, I don't know what goes on behind closed doors, but it seems that the US and Israel alike are fearful at achieving a decisive victory because it will come at the expense of many civilian deaths, or it seems that it would. And since the US and Israel are looking to avoid that and only target military installations, military targets, military personnel, it won't be able to happen without boots on the ground, as they say, because you can't just bomb indiscriminately because of the death toll that will be claimed. So if you're not going to put boots on the ground, and as far as I know, Israel and America, they have special forces there and intelligence agencies there and agents, right? But they don't have, grunts, infantry on the ground there, like regiments, whole regiments, right, over there. And that means that there is a very good chance that, look, they're not looking to occupy Iran. They are looking to make it safe for the people to revolt. But if the people don't feel safe enough to revolt, then the regime will come down and crack down hard, and it will just be a stalemate again until the next round. So I have a feeling, unfortunately, that it won't end now, but it will only end later, when at some point it becomes so bad that they will need to have boots on the ground and take out the regime. And I think that maybe the Kurds from Iraq will also be playing a part there. So US and Israel have the upper hand, but not so much of an upper hand that they are able to give the people that breath, to actually make a move. But I don't know. I really don't. Muy Grande says, it took several days for my grandfather to be buried, but Rabbi Kreiman had always been a mensch and loved my family. He was the one to take the duty. Thank you for always answering eventually. Yes, Muy Grande, I appreciate the patience, I do. It's great to listen to you, says AA. You are really smart and articulated. No, I'm not. I appreciate the sentiment, but I'm not smart. I try to be, but I'm definitely not smart. There are things that that I should be better about. As for articulation, I'm a man of words. I've always loved words. They are my work. They are my passion. They are my play. And I appreciate the sentiment. I could always learn more. I can always enrich my vocabulary. I try and articulate myself to the best of my ability. Sometimes it goes, better than other times, but thank you. I appreciate it. I was born again, but then I died, says Old Wizard. Well, that's the way the matzah crumbles. I agree, you're not smart. See, throwaway. See, it's good to find. See, this is why I'm glad you're still here and that you didn't scroll away, throwaway. We can find common ground. We can find some shared, commonality here. We both agree that I am not smart. And from that, we can work, towards other things that I am and that I'm not. See, this is how relationships work. This is how communication goes. And I'm very happy indeed that you stayed so we can agree on me being not smart. That is very good. Are you born again? I mean, I'm born again every single day, but I'm not a Christian, if that's what you're asking. He's big mad. Well, I do love Mad Magazine. I mean, in the past, I subscribed for many years, and towards the end of it, it became too political, so I tuned out. But yes, I am indeed mad. I love me some Alfred E. Newman. I never watched Mad TV. Was it any good? People who were around at the time, let me know. Was Mad TV any good? Lucas says you are trying to brainwash people into supporting your bullshit. Okay, first of all, no, I'm not. But if I was, please forgive me. People, I'm not wanting you to support my bullshit. Please don't support me. Please don't support what I'm doing. Please don't support what I'm saying. Please don't support me in any way. Everything you give to charity, be it super chat, super thanks, the ads or whatever, 100% of that goes to charity. So if you do want to contribute to charity through this channel, that can be done. It doesn't go to me. It goes to charity. Look at the posts. I'm very upfront and transparent about the transactions of everything to do with the payment. It all goes to charity. So that aside, definitely don't follow me, don't listen to me, don't do as I say, don't do as I do. I do appreciate the likes and the subs and the views, and all that, and the engagement and the right and everything. That's all wonderful. However, it is indeed all bullshit. Everything that I'm saying is a big steaming pile of cow dung. And so, please don't be brainwashed by what I'm saying. Please research, take everything I say with a big, grain of hummus. I am ignorant, I am foolish, I am stupid, I am not a know-it-all, I'm not a sage or a rabbi or a teacher or a preacher. I'm just a student, I'm just a learner. I'm just trying to become a little less ignorant, and it's an ongoing journey. But definitely, I'm not trying to brainwash people into supporting my bullshit. I have no bull, nor do I have its shit. But if you do give, by all means do give. But no, I'm not asking you to support me. I am here to have conversations with people who said that Lucas, Montana. As Frank Zappa said, I might be moving to Montana soon. So, Lucas, thank you. I'm not trying to brainwash people. Please do not be brainwashed by me, right? Follow other people. If you are looking to be brainwashed, there are other people much more learned, much more educated, much more knowledgeable than I. Be brainwashed by them, but not me. Nicole said, and that is exactly what makes you smart, pretty humble guy who knows. Yes, well, all I know is that I know nothing. I appreciate it. Relax, go eat something. You know what? Maybe I will. We had some wafers here before. Maybe later. All super chat donations will help fund the building of the third temple. That is false. That is a lie. The first payment was given to the Jerusalem food rescuers who operate in East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem with Jews and Muslims and Christians alike. The second donation was given to Yad Sarah, who, again, they serve Jews and Christians and Muslims and Druze and tourists in need of medical aid and medical care and different things. They transport people who are homebound to the hospital. They take care of the elderly and the sick and the injured. So what you are saying is bullshit, and I have the posts to back it up. First of all, third of all, this month's or last month's April's earnings was close to $600. You good people have raised just about $600 for charity in the month of April. I should be getting that payment in the next couple of weeks, I think. And once again, I will be very transparent. I'll show you my bank account. I'll show you the analytics. I'll show you the receipt. You'll be able to give your input on which charity to give to or to split it up. People have said that I should split it up this month and give half to an organized charity and half to the homeless people of Jerusalem, like on the street. I will be able to show a receipt for if I do half and half. I will be able to show. I will be able to show half of it go to charity for an actual registered organization. If I do give 50% of whatever it is of the 600, if I do give like $300 US to people on the street, I won't be able to do that. I won't document it. I won't film it. I won't snap any photos. It'll just be me giving to people on the street. By all means, leave a comment. Let me know what it is you would want me to do with April's $600 donation. Please do let me know. All right, let's continue. There's homeless in Jerusalem. Yes, there are homeless in Jerusalem. Not a bunch, but yes, there are. And so somebody said I should do that. Now, I'm less inclined to do that with that amount of money simply because I don't know if it's going to go to drugs. I don't know if it's going to go to alcohol. I don't know if it's going to go to some mafioso or if it's a scam. I have difficulties knowing. I would rather give somebody said that I should buy like a food card and that way and give those out. It's just that there is no, as far as I know, there is no local like supermarket chain or whatever, but I'm going to do some research. I'll figure that out. If I can find a place that has sort of local supermarket credit cards where people will be able to buy groceries with it, then I will simply charge like 6 of them or whatever it is, like 10 of them with some amount of money and give those out. And that way I will know that it's not going to booze or drugs, that it will actually be going for these people to buy groceries. And that would be a great thing. And if I can do that, that would be awesome. And I would also show you the receipt of that, if I can actually buy those cards. Again, I won't show you me giving it to them, but I will show you the receipt for spending that amount of money on those cards. Of course, it will likely be in Hebrew, but you'll have to take my word for it if that is indeed the plan. But I still don't know what the plan is. I haven't gotten the money into my bank account, but it was close to $600, to over $500, which is amazing. I hope you let food into Palestine, says Chris. Indeed, that's why I wanted to give locally, because locally The charitable organizations here take care of the Muslims and the Jews, right, of East Jerusalem and of West Jerusalem, and I definitely do want to give to people here, and it doesn't matter who they are, it doesn't matter what their religion is. I don't want to give to Jews only, I don't want to give to Zionists only. If I wanted to do that, I would give to a Jewish Zionist organization. But I didn't. I give to organizations that cater to the entire population of Jerusalem, and a lot of them are Christian, a lot of them are Arab, a lot of them are, right, Muslim, a lot of them are Jews. Hey, JP is here. The Bible says pray or support Jews and Israel. Everyone in the chat, drop a donation if support Jews, Israel the Bible, peace, or just God in general. Can you please make a video of giving to the poor? I always support. No, I don't think I will make such a video, JP. That would be taking advantage. That would be something that's a little bit, I don't think so. I do post, right? And I showed you the donations in the community tab. I showed you, like I said, the analytics of how much money the channel made and what was in my bank account and what I gave, right? So it all adds up and it's all 100% going to charity. To make a video of me giving to the poor, I think there's something sort of proud about that. I think there's something a little, I can't put my finger on it, but it's a little bit cringy, I think, for me to film that interaction. What do you agree? People in the chat, voice your opinion. Is that cringy? Is that something that should not be done? It just seems a little, I don't know. What is it? What can I not put my finger on? What is it that seems a little iffy, a little cringy, a little not okay about filming the interaction of giving to the poor, giving money to the poor? And yes, only give if you want to give. Like I said, 100% of it goes to charity, none of it goes to me. If I ever do get a brand deal or a sponsorship, I plan on taking that and giving a tithe and keeping the rest. But everything that has to do with YouTube and the channel, AdSense, Super Chat, Super Thanks, and the other super that I'm forgetting right now, 100% of it goes to charity. As for the Bible saying to pray and support Israel and the Jews, prayers are always welcome. If you want to support the poor, start with your community. Start with your general population, your village, your town, your city, wherever you are. The people who are poor in your area come before the ones who are outside of your area. That is the halachic view of charity, that it's best to give locally, right? Think globally, act locally. Same deal with giving to charity. Showing how nice you are, but others might take it a different way, says Muy Grande. I support everyone, says Chris. Exploitation of the vulnerable, says Juan. Yes, maybe that's it. If they consent, then sure, video. Definitely, that's a streamer thing. Very embarrassing, says Chris. Okay, so I know, Bill says, yes, I know you want to know what is true giving. Well, it has to involve personal sacrifice. Okay? I'm not sure what you mean. A little rude, I would say, says Bob. Okay. So you understand the problem that I would have that I can't quite put my finger on with filming the interaction of me giving money to someone on the street. I don't know if that's the right thing to do. Wow, true bro, Philonetic, old wizard? I don't know what that word means. Exchange students bring over the Western education and vice versa. Okay, I'm not sure. You can tell all those negative people never give to the poor, LOL, says JP. Well, what do you mean? I'm not sure what you mean, JP. What do you mean the negative people never give to the poor? They can be against certain things and be negative towards certain things and still give to many just and righteous causes. So I don't think that this equals that necessarily. This guy is a sick Ziomaniac, says Gussie Goro. Yes, I am. I am a sick Ziomaniac. wait, I'll do the thing. Okay. LMAO, it's like saying I'm a Nazi because I want Germany protected. No, it's not the same thing at all. The National Socialists were racist, bigot haters who wanted to take over the world. You seem to be conflating two things that have no business being conflated, even though many people say that Zionism is Nazism. They have no idea what they're talking about. Obviously, they have not read any history whatsoever if they're going to compare National Socialism in Germany in the 30s and 40s to modern-day Zionism. That is a bunch of crap, and I will back that up. Definitely a bunch of crap. We should just vote for Israel at this point, says Hai. Well, you could. Hi, buddy, I hope you are well, said Blessed One. A couple of lives back, you said the Torah doesn't teach anything about homosexuality. No, that was wrong. I said the Torah says that two men who are Hebrews cannot have full anal penetrative sex. It doesn't say who you are allowed to be attracted to and who you are not allowed to be attracted to. That's what I said. Homosexuality is attraction. I mean, by and large, it means being attracted to the opposite sex. If you're coming down to the nuts and bolts of, so pun intended, I guess, unintended, but then intended upon thought. If you're coming into the nuts and bolts, the meat and potatoes of what is allowed according to Torah, written Torah says that anal sex between two Hebrew men is not permissible. Okay? That's not permissible. It says that that is an abomination. And our sages, extrapolating from that, prohibit any kind of homosexual activity, even things that the written Torah does not specify. The oral Torah goes on and says, yes, 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 but you can't have homosexual relationships by and large. All of that is forbidden. Anything to do with sexuality between two men is by extrapolation forbidden. The Torah actually says only full penetrative sex, right? I mean, and that's what it's understood as, let's put it that way. So Leviticus, yes, that's what I'm saying. It says in Leviticus that that's an abomination, but what it says is speaking about a man lying with another man as he lays with a woman. And lays is not singular. Lays is plural, which is where they get the anal thing from, because men have no vaginas. I know that's a very extremist opinion these days, but yes, men, generally speaking, do not have a vagina that you can penetrate. They do have an anus that you could penetrate. And so when it says that a man should not lay with a man as he lays with a woman, that's what he means. Anal sex between a man and a woman is indeed allowed. If the woman consents, then it's allowed. But anal sex between two men is not allowed. Homosexuality at large is a lot more than just anal sex, which is why I said that the written Torah specifies the laying, right? The laying part, right? The penetrative sex part. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot be attracted to guys, right? That already is the oral Torah coming in and saying, no, any kind of sexual contact between two guys is not permissible and it's not okay. So if, for instance, you go with the written Torah, but not the oral traditions or the rabbinic Judaism, you could hypothetically understand, if you just go with the text, that you can't have penetrative sex with a man, but you can be a homosexual. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm just getting into the fine print here. Now, yes, you could argue the spirit of the law versus the letter of the law, and people in the comments actually made that point very clearly. They were saying, yes, it speaks only of laying, right, and of penetrative sex, but you can also understand that the Torah is not really cool with homosexual same-sex relationships, and by that it means relationships between two men and two women, even though two women are never specified, not in the entire Bible. In fact, it's hinted at in more of a positive way, only hints, only alluded to, you could say. But the oral traditions, rabbinic Judaism, forbids man-on-man action and girl-on-girl action. But it does truly depend on the halacha you go by. It does truly depend on the sect or denomination that you are a part of, if you will. But I didn't say it doesn't teach anything about homosexuality. I said it teaches about penetrative anal sex between two men, and that's where it starts and ends in the written Torah. And other things are the extrapolation, the oral traditions that came along with the written Torah. That's what I said. What about the verse that says a man should not dress like a woman and vice versa? Yes, what about that, JP? It means that ideally, the Torah says the sexes are equal but not equivalent. Did I say that correctly? Right? That we are the same, we are both equal, but not equivalent. We don't have the exact same things, in the very same way that I can't carry a child and a woman can't produce sperm. In the very same way that, and look, of course, I don't want to speak in absolutes, anomalies exist, and there are exceptions to the rule, and so on. But the reason is that we need to keep some sort of a segregation between the sexes and between the way that we, let's say, express our sex. You see what I'm saying? In that sense, the Torah says you are the same, but you are different. and know when to be the same and know when to be different. So when you're saying, what about it? Yes, what about it? A man should not dress in the clothing of a woman. A woman should not dress in the clothing of a man. Now, you could argue that it's not clothing, it's, let's say, a uniform of a soldier going to war. I don't know what. Depending on how you read that verse, depending on how you interpret that verse, it could mean different things. But the idea behind it is, despite men and women being equal before God, we each have a different task, we each have a different mission, we each have a different way to view the world. And I mean this broadly, right? Men and women, this dimorphic human species, it's like, yes, we are more alike than we are different, right? Men and women of the human race are more alike than they are different, but the things in which we are different make us fundamentally not alike in those ways. Do you see what I'm saying? Or maybe I'm just complicating it. The point is, the places where we are different are major, and they make a big difference in the way that we approach the world, and they make a big difference in the way that we approach life. And of course, some men are more effeminate, and some females are more and some women are more masculine. We all have masculine and feminine inside of us. We are all a synthesis of both. And how we choose to express ourselves in the world definitely is a direct expression of what we are. The Torah says, make sure and discern and have the ability to segregate, because it matters, because who you are matters and how you express yourself matters. And sometimes the clothes do make the man. But I think for those verses to make more sense, you'd have to go into the oral traditions. That's what I think. Thought on Pride Festival happening at Sodom's site, says Bad Dragonite. Well, here's the thing. For a very long time, homosexuality, right, was a no-no and illegal. In Israel, it was illegal, not enforced, but technically illegal until the 80s or late 70s or early 80s. Until the 80s, I think, homosexuality was indeed technically illegal, even if it was not enforced. The law was actually there, and only then it was taken out of the law. Now, like in Israel and many other places, homosexuality was the love that dare not speak its name. It was a no-no, right? I mean, the Greeks and the Romans and all that, they saw it as part of a healthy sexual expression from what I've gathered. I don't know. I'm not a maven. I'm not a historian. But I know that it was a lot more prevalent. It's always been, homosexuality has always been prevalent. Let's start with that, always. But there are places and cases and times and eras where it was persecuted heavily, and people were in the closet and they could not be who they were, who they felt they wanted to be. And that is an awful thing, because even if you, as let's say a religious Jew, want to keep Torah, want to keep strict halacha, and you don't want to follow your urges, at least you should be able to come out and say, I am a gay man, I am consciously choosing to go not with that feeling, but to try and build a heterosexual life as the Torah commands me to do. That would be something. But no, it's become from, because it has to do with sex, and because it has to do with the generations, and because it has to do with procreation, homosexuality was something that has been persecuted and still is persecuted in some places. People are being executed for homosexuality in different places in the world. Let's not forget that. So people stayed in the closet, and so by the time they could come out proudly, they wanted to do it like that and say, yes, here I am, we are here, we are queer, get used to it. But since then, even in places where it's completely out in the open and there's no discrimination and there's no stigma or whatever, they still insist on having these festivals. And I think that in certain locations and in certain places, it's become from a solidarity and it's okay to come out of the closet festival to, hey, look how queer we are, let's all, I don't know, I've never been to gay pride. But I understand the root of it. Nowadays, I don't know if all gay pride parades actually do follow in the footsteps of the original gay pride parades. I think it might have taken a turn, and now it might be something where it doesn't adequately align with the original gay pride parades, which were all about, hey, we are just normal people. We are just people like you and you and you and you who happen to be attracted to the same sex, and we want to have the same opportunities at life. We don't want to be afraid just because we are attracted to the same thing. I get all of that. Nowadays, I've heard that it's not the same thing. Not the same thing. So, thoughts on Pride Festival, because I don't know the actuality of how it goes down and what goes on there, I can't comment on that. I think it's a little ironic, biblically speaking, to have the Pride Festival at Sdom. I'll give you that. Ooh. A quick aside. Yes, there are mystical schools of Islam. Yes, the Sufis and others, probably. That's correct. I don't know what you're talking about, but yes, that is correct. There is Muslim mysticism. And I've read some of the poetry of the Sufis, and I really connected with it, by the way. I've been on for almost an hour and a half. A quick aside to say thank you, those watching now, those watching later. It's such a pleasure. It's such a wonder that I press go live, and there are people here, and there's a conversation here, and there's a loveliness to this chat, and there's an energy to this chat. It doesn't matter if there are 100 people here or 60 people here like there are now, or 4 or 500 or 1,000 people as I once had. There was one live stream where the viewers at the same time was just over 1,000, and how amazing was that? Anyway, both you good people out there who are participating in these live streams and the YouTube algorithm have been very gracious and very kind to me in the recent months. It's so lovely to reach new people. It's lovely to reach new audiences. It's lovely to get new subscribers. It's lovely to get more hate. It's lovely to get more trolls. It's lovely to get more spam. It's lovely to get more bots. It's lovely to get all of the interactions, be they positive or negative, because it helps the channel grow. And while, look, I don't ask for you to subscribe. I say thank you, but I don't, you might notice I don't say, hey, like and subscribe. I say I thank you for the likes and the subscriptions. That is for damn sure. I don't ask anybody to like. I don't ask anybody to sub. I don't ask anybody to view, because I want this to reach people organically. That's how I would want it to happen. That's how I've always wanted it to happen. The only time where I say subscribe is in the trailer of this channel from 2018. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And maybe I said it in the beginning, in the videos in the beginning, where I was still filming video and editing and all that. But with the live streams, I deeply appreciate your time. I appreciate your kind attention. I appreciate the encouragement, the strengthening and nourishing words that you give me. And like I said, the vitriol as well. I love it all. I don't take it for granted. You could be doing anything else right now. Truly, you could be doing anything else. But you are here with me now, raw, live from Jerusalem. And I really appreciate it. Okay, let's continue. What makes this chat significantly different, says Bill, is because God has given Israel his holy law, and God said the nations would notice. Well, Israel is a very small amount of people. It's a very small kingdom. It's a very small nation, a very small state. And people, it seems, are highly preoccupied with the goings-on in Israel, and for many times have been. I don't exactly know why. I really don't. Nicole says, Gussie, it must suck to go through life being so hateful to people you never actually met or know. That's rough. Yes, you know what? I pity these people. They must have such a horrible existence, so full of hate, so full of negativity, that they come on a random live stream and they spew out their bile against people that they don't know. The only positive thing that I can see is that maybe they will empty themselves of the hatred, empty themselves of the negativity, empty themselves of these horrible vibrations, and be able to have that empty vessel to fill, right, with love and understanding and with patience and with positive vibration, and that those vibrations will be able to cycle, right, that they will remain an empty vessel that is always renewed with life, always renewed with good energy. That is the one good thing, I think, that can come from these people spewing their hatred. So it's like, yes, please come to this channel, spew your hatred at me, laugh at me, ridicule me, insult me, gimme. However you look at it, it helps. It helps the channel because there's engagement, and it might even help you, oh negative hater, because you might be rid of the negative hate, and maybe it will be replaced with some kind, love and grace. But yeah, it must suck. I pity those people who have so much hate in their existence and in their life, such negativity, that it sort of spills over to people online. It really, really is difficult, I'm sure. You know nothing, says WT. I agree. Not one single verifiable or arguable data point. Proverbial dweeb in mama's basement trolling. Well, first of all, I'm not in my mama's basement. My mama do have a basement, but I am not there right now. Second of all, I am not a proverbial dweeb. I'm an actual dweeb. As for arguable data point, I give many verifiable data points. You simply seem to think that there are none. That's your prerogative, by all means. If you don't agree, don't agree. That's all good. Again, push back, challenge me, whatever you want. But I don't think that you can say that. As for knowing nothing, I agree. All that I know is that I know nothing, and I hope to know less and less and less, and as a result, hopefully know more and more and more. The poll is affecting my ability to scroll. 444 votes in, 37%. Milk chocolate finally taking the top position here. 35% dark chocolate, and white and no chocolate again at 11 and 17% respectively. All right, all right. Speaking of trolling, I only troll the trollers. That's who I troll. If I'm trolling anybody, I'm trolling the trollers. And that's who I'm trolling, because they invite it they really do invite it unto themselves, I gotta say. I really do. Can you explain why Jews chose to trace lineage through the maternal lines? Yes, Nicole, it used to be through the father. At the time of the return from Babylon, Ezra, Nehemiah, right? Ezra the scribe and Nehemiah and the rest of the people who came back. First of all, most of the kingdom of Judah never made it back from Babylon. Those who did come back, the remnants of the kingdom of Judah, many of them had married foreign women. And Ezra and Nehemiah, they wanted the Hebrew women to also have a shot. They wanted the Hebrew men to marry the Hebrew women. And so they said from now on, even though religious and tribal affiliation has gone through the father, from now on, religious affiliation, if you will, the covenant, right, will go through the mother, and tribal affiliation remains with the father. In other words, you can marry a Jewish mother, right, from the tribe of Judah, and you have the Jewish father from the tribe of, let's say, Levi. So you would be a Levite, right? You would be a Levite from the tribe of Levi, a Jew from the kingdom of Judah, from the tribe of Levi. If it's the other way around, it would be that you would be a Jew, right, from the kingdom of Judah, who is from the tribe of Judah. So the religious affiliation ever since the time of the return from Babylon. We were in Babylon for 70 odd years, and then there was a comeback as the second temple was as Jerusalem was being rebuilt, and later the second temple was built. At that time, it moved from being from the father to the mother. That's when it happened. That's why it's traced through the maternal line as of then, because the Hebrews had too many foreign women as wives. That's why. Flood definitely happened. It's obvious, says Old Wizard. Well, look, I think it happened. I don't know if it's obvious, but it did, as far as I'm concerned, happen. Some people say it didn't happen, and that's all well and good. They don't have to believe that it's happened. Again, I say that the Bible can all be allegorical. The Bible can all be myth and lore and legend. The question, as always, is, and now what? I have these stories, I have these myths, I have these tales, I have these allegories, these fables, but they are supposed to convey some sort of a meaning. They have wisdom in them. There are archetypal stories that other nations share as well, and other older civilizations like the flood share as well, because it's an archetypal idea. It's an archetypal message to humanity. That's why it matters. And the fact that there are commandments there for the Hebrew people, that aside, the stories themselves of the Bible are very allegorical and very archetypal. And these things mirror the way that we act as human beings in a big way. And that's part of what I say. That's part of why I think the Bible would definitely be something to go by, even if it's only sort of conceptually, right, of a guide, right? Not binding and not a must and not commandments under any kind of supernal covenant, but simply a guide, more of what not to do than what to do. Yes. Piggybacking off Nicole, says IMM, what about adoption? Does rabbinic law view adoption children as natural Jews? Interestingly, I'm not certain. I think that they need to convert. If you want to make them Jewish, you need to convert them. That's what I think happens with adoption. I'm getting that urge to crusade, says RKWSI9U. All right, by all means, gather your people and come to the holy city. You might be attacked by the IDF if you come to attack us, so just prepare for war. You should be a GTA character, says Ray. Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's an old name for Ireland. What? They all document a global flood, a hierarchy of angelic, demonic half-breeds ruling over humanity. Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I know that there are others who have sort of documented or brought in the story of a flood. I don't know about the angelic demonic thing, but maybe you might be right. I don't know. I really don't know. Let's continue. Hanoch documented a flood too, says Old Wizard. So I don't know the book of Hanoch too well. I don't know it too well. I read it a long time ago, and I don't know it too well, like offhand. Do you get along with the Orthodox after going off the derech in their view? Definitely I do, because a lot of the things that I do are, by definition, still Orthodox, right? I keep kosher because I'm vegan, so that's already keeping kosher. I keep the Shabbos. I don't go to synagogue, but I do pray and talk to God every single day. I just go with the spontaneous prayer, what is called hitbodedut. But I definitely still get along with Orthodox people. It's my home, it's my root, it's where I grew up. So I have a lot in common with Orthodox Jews. So yeah, I mean, in many ways, I still do consider myself Orthodox, but I don't put that label on me. JP, 1 Kings 13. Why did God send a lion to kill the prophet, and why did the old prophet betray him? So, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the prophet from Judah who went to Samaria, and he met a different one, and he said, "Don't go back the way that you came." Right? And then he said, "No, no, no." He told him, "Don't eat there, don't drink there, don't stay there." But then another prophet came to him. Interestingly enough, I haven't studied the commentary on that story. It's a mystery. I don't know. I think that, at least in part, what it might mean is that it could be that that prophet, the original prophet, did not discern and do his due diligence on to find out whether or not that other one was a false prophet. I don't know. I think, look, you know what? This is one of those things where I've read the story a few times. It always is a mystery to me. I haven't gone into the commentary yet, not because I don't have the ability, but because I wanted to think about it myself and come to certain conclusions myself about that story before I go to the commentary, because the commentary and the different interpretations on any level, right, from the very simplistic to the esoteric, would affect how I look at the story. So the reason why I haven't looked up commentary is because I want to reach my own conclusion first, because it's such a mystery to me. Why did God send that lion? Why did the old prophet betray him? I don't know. I really, really don't. I need to reread that story. I occasionally, because I go through the Bible periodically, and I get to that story, and I always stop and think, what is going on there? He told him, don't eat there, don't drink there, don't stay there, right? And go back a different way. If I'm not mistaken, I might be confusing it with someone else. But either way, he did something he wasn't supposed to do, because the other prophet came to him and said, oh yes, I got a revelation too. And it said that you needed to come by. And then the lion was standing next to the carcass, right? The lion was standing next to the corpse, I mean, not carcass, next to the corpse, and he did not devour him. And then he came and he buried him, right? And he said to his kids, when I'm dying, when I'm dead, bury me next to him, right? Is that it? It always really mystifies me. And the reason why I haven't looked into commentary, JP, is because I want to reach my own conclusions about that. I'm really, really curious about that. MN says, could you repeat the question in Hebrew? Ken. יש נביא זקן מיהודה, יש נביא מיהודה שנשלח אל השומרון, בשומרון הוא פוגש נביא אחר, והוא הולך נגד ההוראה שהוא קיבל מאדוני בעקבות הנביא הזקן האחר הזה. זהו, כן, במלכים א', פרק 13. There, that's what it is in Hebrew. The basics. Oh, wait, there was another super chat that came in. I'm sorry, I missed it. Hold on a second. Hi, says Pistleton. Hey, hi. Hi, Piss. How you doing? I mean, all you guys giving to charity is so awesome. So very awesome. Bibi is a war criminal, says Richard. Okay, if he is, he should be brought to trial and put to justice. If he is, if there are war criminals, if there are people who are carrying out crimes against humanity and war crimes and all that, on all sides, they should be brought to justice and they should be put to trial. That's what I'm saying. Josh says, you keep being told you keep not complying, you keep dying. Yes, that's what we are being told. That's what exists in the Torah. I'm not sure what you mean. Okay. Lies, 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 says Ashes. Hey, Ashes. How you doing, man? Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. The International Criminal Court, The Hague, has warrants for Putin. Okay. So if it has a warrant, fine. Eventually, when this war is done and when we have peace, let them be brought to justice by all means. By all means. But as far as I know, that criminal court and those and things like the UN, they have been unprecedentedly anti-Jewish. Well, maybe there is a precedent, right, of being anti-Jewish, anti-Israeli. So how much of it can we really, how much of it is guided by hatred and bigotry and racism, and how much is guided by actual data and actual facts? We will only be able to know this once the dust settles, if it ever will, and they will be able to be brought to justice. But if there are people who are committing crimes against humanity, war crimes, I don't know what, then they should be brought to justice. What are the 24 books of Hebrew scripture? I'm sorry, there are 24 books. Yes, there are 24 books. That's correct. Not sure what you mean, but okay. Oh, you're responding to someone else. I see. That's cool. You never read the book of Obadiah. Yes, I have read the book of Obadiah, Baby Bubba. Love the name, Baby Bubba. I have read the book of Obadiah. Why? I don't remember a lot of it offhand, but I have. It never will. Your region will never know peace. Well, that's a damn shame because all the people in this region deserve peace. We've known enough suffering. We have known enough war. We have known enough bloodshed. We have known enough of the hatred and the racism and the things that tear us apart. Isn't it time? Isn't it time that we actually took the time and got to know each other a little better? Isn't it time that we laid down our arms? Isn't it time for the terrorists to stop attacking Israel? Isn't it time for peace? I ask you, isn't it? Our region will never know peace. Israel has extended its hand for peace many times. Israel has put peace deals on the desks of Palestinian leadership many times. Israel has given back land for peace. Israel has actually made peace with Jordan and with Egypt. And it's possible. It's actually technically possible to have peace with Israel. And guess what? Israel has not raised a weapon against Jordan. Israel has not raised a weapon against Egypt. You know why? Because they signed a peace treaty with us. So now we have peace. I think I'm going to go soon. It's almost been 2 hours. I'm going to go soon. Let's look at the poll. 455 votes in. 37% milk chocolate now in the lead. 35% dark chocolate. 17% no chocolate and 11% white chocolate. Philo says Israel gave up Sinai. Jordan exists because Israel gave up nearly 80% of the land. Yes, that's right. I mean, we have done things for peace many times. What would you think if Mount Olive's split in two? Well, I would think that it's part of the prophecy. It doesn't have to come to pass, but I think that it would definitely be part of the prophecy. If Mount Olive split in two, it would be, what would I think? I would think, okay, it's yet another prophecy that is coming to pass. Different prophecies have already been fulfilled and are being enacted and carried out right now in the land of Israel. It would just need one more to add to that list. Mount of Olive will never literally split. It's allegorical, it's imagery. Yes, it might very well be allegorical and imaginary, if you will, or imagery. Not imaginary, imagery. You're not tough, says Roger. Did I say I'm tough? When did I say I'm tough? Some people. Okay. Bullshit lie, says Ashes. What is the bullshit lie? Please tell me. Please tell me, what is the bullshit lie? Are you talking about the peace agreements? Yes, there have been over 10, like 6 or 7 major peace agreements and maybe 5 or 4 or 5 other minor agreements that were put on the table. Each and every one of them were categorically rejected by the Palestinian leadership because they don't want peace. They want to keep their population in squalor and poverty. They want to keep the refugee status going from generation to generation. They want to slaughter all of the Jews in Israel. They want to make it Muslim once again, Dar al-Islam. They want the place to be Muslim because it used to be under Muslim rule, so it can never truly be taken out of Muslim hands. That is why they don't have peace. That is why they fight. They want to be martyred. They are a death cult. The Palestinian leadership is a death cult that revels in death and would gladly sacrifice, gleefully sacrifice every last man, woman, and child for the cause. They seek to maximize civilian casualties to gain sympathy from the dumb people who support terrorism all around the world, who don't know what they're talking about. And they are succeeding because there are many people who don't read the history, who go with the trends, and who want to be considered to be on the right side of history, who follow this false, narrative that Hamas is very good at propagating and at, so that's what they do. That is what they do. And they have people following them blindly. Blindly. Well, what are you going to do? You think you're tough, buddy. Really, Roger? Not once did I ever say that I'm tough. If you want, I will say it right here in front of 35 people watching and others watching later. I am a weakling. I mean, I'm going to the gym. I'm working on, on gaining muscle and strength. But I definitely am a weakling. There, I am not tough. Never have I purported to be tough. Never have I categorized myself as tough or claimed to be tough. So you're simply talking shit out of your ass, which is your prerogative. By all means, do it. But don't put words in my mouth. Don't put beliefs in my heart. And don't put thoughts in my mind. They are not there. That is you projecting your own insecurities. That is you projecting your own ignorance for the chat to see. So congratulations on being a dumbass. I am also a fellow dumbass. Hey, paisano. But no, what you're saying is actually incorrect, and I just demonstrated it. So no, I do not think I'm tough. Favorite vegan protein? Seitan. Seitan, I think, is my favorite. Pea protein as well. You can do a lot of things with pea protein, but I love seitan. Seitan is from wheat, if I'm not mistaken. Is it wheat? Yeah, I think it's wheat. And I love it. I really do. You can make so many things. My woman made some very nice seitan strips for Shabbos, and we at the table devoured it all, so I have none left. I do have some. She also made like this. She also made tofu with this peanut butter sauce coating. I don't know if there's anything left of that. I think that was finished as well. Oh, that's okay. That's okay. JP says the young prophet was from Judah. Yes, they wanted to kill him. The old prophet was from Yeroboam's king. Yeah, Samaria. Right. I was right. He went from Judea. He went from Judah to Samaria, from the capital of the kingdom of Judah to the capital of the kingdom of Israel. He betrayed him with the Last Supper, red and white. Yes, that's right. When they buried him like Jesus. Well, I don't know about the Jesus part, but I do know that's pretty much what I remembered. And again, and he told his kids, when I die, lay me to rest, lay my bones to rest next to the bones of the dude that was killed. Yes. Now, it was somebody else who came into town and said, hey, did you see that lion over there who's standing next to a dead body? And so he knew that was him. And then he buried him, and then he told his kids to bury him next to him when his time came. Fuck Hamas, says Boggart. Indeed. Hey, Gan Eden is here. LOL. Let's continue. What if Palestine infiltrated Israel through Grindr? Well, Upstate, I'm not sure what you mean. Presumably it's the gay app, Grindr, right? That's what you're talking about, unless it's an actual Grindr. But it's a capital G, so I'm assuming it's that. Palestine infiltrated Israel through Grindr? I think there are enough Israelis on Grindr without Palestine needing to infiltrate. But okay. What if? What if? It's a good question, man. It's a good question. Spend your life training, less than 1 pound can take you out. I'm not sure what you mean. I definitely don't know what you mean. But okay. WT says, I was Department of Defense for 22 years, sir. I have seen those deals and they would be considered capitulation to most. Sorry, there was a glitch. I'm live. There, I'm back. I'm not saying that it was the end-all be-all. I'm saying it was a means to an end. If you want to have peace, you take a step forward. Like in the Oslo Accords. Even though they went to shit really quickly, I was a fan of the Oslo Accords. I really was. It felt like peace was imminent. It was such a great time to be alive. And then it went to hell. However, those deals were a beginning. They were a start. It wasn't the final solution to the problems in the Middle East. It was a start. I'm not saying they should have even accepted all of it, but they categorically rejected it. They didn't even counter it with a different offer. So spare me. I don't say that you haven't been Department of Defense for 22 years. I'm not saying that it wouldn't have been, what's the word you used? Capitulation? Okay, maybe it would have been, in part. But they could have pushed back, and they didn't. They simply rejected it. So Israel reached out for peace, and they were rejected over 10 times. And like 5 to 7 of those deals, from what I've gathered, were major deals. And in 1 or 2 of them, I think maybe 1, maybe 2, it was Gaza, East Jerusalem, and the West Bank of the Jordan, parts of which, a lot of which was offered to the Palestinian people, to the leadership, to establish a Palestinian state with its capital in East Jerusalem. And they said no. So come on. What they want is death. What they want is a Judenrein land of Israel. What they want is a land that is ruled by Muslims for Muslims. That is what they want. That is all that they want, and they will accept nothing but 100% of control in the region with no Jews, not even as dhimmis, I think. They will slaughter us all because we are a pain in their collective asses. And once again, I must say, it's the leadership. It's not necessarily the people. It's the leadership, and the leadership rules the people with an iron fist. The bloodthirsty, extremist, religious Muslim regime rules them with an iron fist, whether it's the West Bank or Gaza. And there have been no other elections in Gaza ever since Hamas was elected democratically. The people there support them. The people there, most of them are underage, and they support them because they've been indoctrinated into Hamas land in Gaza. And so, of course, they will be supporting their leadership. That needs to end. You need to de-radicalize both sides of this conflict, then you can have a better peace. And even if it would have been not a great deal for the Palestinians at first, it's a means to an end. It's a way to achieve peace. You think Israel wanted to give up Sinai? You think Israel wanted to disengage from Gaza? You think Israel wanted to get out of Lebanon? No. But we did it. You think Israel wanted to give back the Temple Mount? No, but we did it because you make concessions for peace. You compromise for peace. If you actually want it, there's a way to attain it. And the Palestinian leadership has proven time and time and time again it is not interested in peace. It is interested in perpetuating this status, this poverty-stricken, living in squalor, refugee status, because the Zionist machine, the occupiers, the pigs and the apes and the dogs of the Zios and the Jews and the they don't want peace, they want death, they love death, they revel in it, they are a death cult, that's what they know, that's what they do, they support terrorism, and they are terrorists, and that's it. And you can't make peace deals with these people, apparently, or not with their leaders anyway. So I hope the people rise up and overthrow their corrupt leadership, their oppressive, religious, extremist leadership. Then we can make peace. Okay. He hasn't criticized Judaism once. Okay. What do you mean, criticize Judaism? I don't need to criticize Judaism. I criticize the state of Israel. I criticize the army. I criticize the establishment and the state. I do that regularly. And I said if there are people who committed war crimes, they should be put to trial, be brought to justice. How is that not critical of Israel? You're full of crap, once again. And Judaism, criticizing Judaism. I will say that there are verses in the Torah where if you read them and you just take them at face value, you could lead yourself down a path of vanity and pride and arrogance and supremacy. So I'm critical of Judaism in that sense. I'm critical of Jews who are supremacists. I'm critical of Jews who are bigots and haters and racists. See? At the drop of a hat, I'm willing to criticize Judaism. Get the hell out of here. The nations are mentioned as also being blessed to the seed of Abraham. That is correct, Bill. The nations, look, and that's why I am not a supremacist, and I think that even though we were selected for a certain task, other nations were selected for a different task. That's simply the way that it goes. It doesn't mean that one is better than the other. It's all a means to an end, right? So the Jews go this way with this God, and other nations go that way with another God, and we will all, God willing, eventually show up at the gates, at the path, to the tree of life as one unified human race with nothing to come between us. No borders, no tongues, no cultures or faiths or doctrines. We will be able to embrace our shared humanity eventually. I don't know how it will come to pass. Sometimes, like right now, you still need differences, you still need borders, you still need the different cultures and tongues and religions and faiths, apparently. It still serves a purpose. But it won't be that way always. We will have that Edenic mindset permeate existence and creation itself, and we will come together. I don't know how it will happen, but I believe that it will. I am foolishly optimistic. Foolishly optimistic. Okay, on that note, all except Arabs, right? No, definitely not. I am a fan of Arabs. I think it's a lovely language. I think it's a lovely culture. I think that it has sides of it that are more militant, but I think that's true to any faith or region or society. So see, once again, you're full of shit. You are projecting your own bigotry and your own hatred. I never said once that I hate Arabs. I have, what, you know what? Okay. I've never said once that I hate Arabs. I've never claimed to have any kind of anything. I've served with Arabs in the IDF. I've worked with Arabs in my office. And in other places of work, by the way. I said, even in this very live stream, I said that the 2 million Arab Israelis here are part of the backbone of the Israeli society that they are a part of. So, once again, you're full of crap, and you are projecting your own hatred, your own bigotry. That's all you're doing. He can't simply say that he hates Arabs. Why would I say that if I don't hate Arabs? What is the matter with you? Has your mind been warped by hatred so much that even when I say here live, I do not hate Arabs, and I consider the 2 million Arabs living here to be citizens just like me, who are part of the society and are the backbone of the society that they live in, that's not enough for you? What is it that you want me to do? Shalom, brothers, says Cruz, I keep the Sabbath and I am a Gentile. Interesting. Some people say that that's not allowed, incidentally. I can tell that's your favorite drinking mug. Let's face it, it's seen better days, but it makes it onto every stream. Nothing beats a favorite mug. That's right, Stone Smurf. It's true, it is my favorite mug. It is my favorite mug. It's past your Jewish bedtime. It's 12:15 a.m. It's just after midnight here, and I've been on for 2 hours, so I am going to say goodbye. It's not past my bedtime, but I probably should say goodbye. Israel doesn't respect borders by definition. Hey, Gussie. Seriously? You're seriously going to come at that? Even when we accepted the partition plan and the Arab Muslims did not. You are so full of shit. It's coming out of everything that you say in the chat. Truly. And I wouldn't say that just to sort of make you look bad. You're doing that to yourself. You really, really are. All right. People, I'm going to say goodbye. Before that, I will just say, once again, I'll quote Golda Meir one last time here, right? If our enemies put down our weapons, we could have peace. If we put down our weapons, there would be no Israel. And that is exactly the case. Our enemies around us are seeking for a vulnerability, for an opportune moment to attack once again. The only time, the only way where we will be able to actually have peace is either through love, right, or through war. Hopefully it will be through love. Hopefully it will be through peace. Hopefully it will be through understanding and coming together, finding common ground. I don't know how it will come, but it will. Until next time, be blessed. Be a blessing to others. Be the light in other people's lives. Do good things. Say good things. Spread positive vibration. I will see you on the next live stream where the wonders never cease. I hope you are all having a good Sabbath, a wonderful Sunday, a good weekend. Let's have a beautiful new week. If I didn't get to you in the chat, mea culpa, my apologies. Leave a comment and I'll address it. If you don't want to leave a comment, hit me up in the DMs. Hebrew Nazarite, look for my tree. I'm on X and TikTok and Facebook and Instagram. I don't post there much, but I am in the DMs. So that was it. And this has been such a pleasure. Thank you once again for your time, for your kind and gentle attention, the likes and the subs and the views and the hate and the spam and the trolls and the insults. I embrace it with open arms. It's always nice to have a discourse with you, to have a dialogue with you. God willing, I'll see you next time. Until then, be blessed. L'chaim, to life. Boop. Beep.